YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, and we're going to get back into the Athens campaign. And I know that I haven't loaded it yet, which is probably the opposite of the way I usually handle it, but I wanted to kind of show you all. I recently put a solid-state drive in, and I had never really used a solid-state drive outside of the one that came in my laptop, and I don't really run Rome 2 a lot on my laptop because it pretty much kills it. Just to kind of give you guys an idea, the solid-state drive really does improve your load times in games like this, and it's not like it was a really long load time for me before coming off my hard drive, but just look how quick that loads into a campaign. And maybe you're saying, "Hey, my computer already did that. Yours is a piece of crap." Well, maybe so. Some of you all have pretty amazing builds. I'm extremely pleased with my build right now. To me, it feels like a beastly mega beast of a computer. Again, I know there's things out there that could be better than what I have, but I feel extremely lucky to have it. So I guess I'll just recap real quick because I did do some upgrades and kind of tell you what I'm running. Give you an idea of what it is. So I am recording at 60 FPS. It's in 1080p, and this records, of course, while I'm playing. The game's running on all extreme settings. So let me, for the most part, there's a few settings I didn't tick on just because I didn't feel like I really needed to. Let's take a look at the graphics options real quick, and I'll just kind of show you the advanced screen so you can see what I'm running. These are the settings that I'm on right now. I'm sure I could boost these up and probably turn everything on, but I pretty much have everything on as it is right now, and it basically I just made sure that I was consistently over 60 FPS, which I was. My new card is a 970. It calls out 3 gigabytes of RAM here. Is that like a Rome 2 thing, or is there something that I need to switch? Because it should have 4 gigabytes of video memory, but it's only showing 3. It's possible the Rome 2 can only use 3. I don't know what the case is there, so if you all know, just let me know. Anyway, the 970 has, I mean, it's not a cheap card. I think I picked it up for about $330 American. But it is a heavy hitter in terms of the performance that you get out of a card in that price range. It is an extremely heavy hitter from what I've seen. I could have purchased the 980. I had the money to do it. The reason why I did not get the 980 is because, well, there's a few reasons. Number one, although I had the money, the performance increase did not seem substantial over the 970. I mean, it was there. But the other thing that really drew me back is I'm still seeing 780s for sale that cost more than the 970 and basically deliver the same performance as the 970. And so I was very hesitant to go buy a 980, worrying that the same thing would happen to me on it that happened with the people who bought the 780, and then you see the 970 come out and you'd be like, well, great, glad I paid $600 for that graphics card, and now there's one that basically does the same thing for almost half the cost. Now, 'tis the world of electronics. That's kind of the way it goes, ebbs and flows like that. But any case, long story short, new graphics card is in. It is a GTX 970. It's an EVGA super clocked model. If you want to buy one yourself and you're curious what I have, I can send you a link to where I bought it from. Now, you don't have to buy it there, but at least it would let you see what I bought if you were wanting to mimic it for some reason. My processor, I'll just cover these real quick. Again, I know I'm chatting on and on. I will get to the campaign, so I apologize. I'll record a little bit of extra time. I haven't started my timer yet, so I'll get some extra time in here to make up for me chatting here, and of course you're free to skip this. My processor is an i7 4770K. I do not overclock it because I don't feel a need to right now. I do not run a CPU cooler on it or liquid cooling, as it seems to run very cool in my case. The case I have is a Corsair Carbide 500R. I've got 6 fans on it. I think I have 240mm intakes on the front, a 240mm intake on the side, and then I have 240mm exhaust on the top, and then one, I think it's 140mm exhaust on the back. Could be 120, I can't remember. Anyway, it's a lot of detail, but anyway, I've got a Gigabyte. It's like a Z87 UDH4 motherboard. There's newer motherboards out there, so I think that one's probably discontinued by this point, but still a very nice board. It's an LGA, I think 1150 socket for Intel Haswell processor, so that's what it was built for. The fastest RAM it can run is 2400 megahertz, which is actually what I have in right now. So I have 16 gigs of DDR3 2400. Don't know if the 2400 is really delivering a big difference. People said it could, but I'm not noticing a huge difference. But then again, I wasn't really experiencing any lag before, so kind of hard to say there. But looks nice anyway. It's G-Skill Trident memory, in case you're wondering again what it is. And then as far as hard disk drive, I've got a Toshiba 2TB, just really standard hard disk drive that does the big load of what's on my computer, and then I have a Samsung 840 EVO solid state drive, sorry, that's 250 gigabytes, and that's where I run my operating system in Rome 2, and soon Attila. And my power supply is a Corsair 750 watt power supply. Other than that, I think that's pretty much everything that's in my machine. A lot of you ask me about it. I don't use any kind of special mouse or keyboard. I have like a knockoff mouse and keyboard. It's like a CM Storm or something. It's not like it's a name brand. It was backlit and it was cheap. That's why I got them. It's not like there's some kind of amazing performance. And to be honest, when you're me, it's not like the mouse and keyboard is keeping me from winning battles on Rome 2. It's my skill. So it's pretty much all there is to it. And again, the headset I'm using now is a HyperX Cloud Pro. The sound on it isn't as good as some of the ones I had in the past that had the 7.1 surround, but I'm happy to sacrifice the sound. The comfort and the build quality of these things is impressive, and very nice product. So I'm happy to sacrifice the sound quality, which, I mean, is it really that different from me playing in, you know, pseudo 7.1 surround in the headphone as opposed to just stereo hi-fi? I mean, it really is going to be fine. And it seems like the mic does better. It is analog, it's 3.5mm jacks, it's not USB. If you're going to record, it seems like I've had better luck with 3.5mm jacks. So anyway, a lot of talk about my computer. Just wanted to bring you all up to date on it. Air, why are you even talking about this in the first place? You trying to brag or something? No, I'm not bragging. Though it does make me very happy to have this computer. I've wanted to have a nice one like this for a long time. And it took me a long time to get the money for it. But in any case, not telling you to brag. I'm just telling you because I'm trying to do my best to consistently bring you all the best videos in terms of quality and everything. Obviously, commentary and everything has a lot to do that, but I just want you to know that, yes, there's ads on my channel, and yes, I make some money off of it. I use that money, I save it, and I try and make my machine better so that I can then deliver to you consistently good quality videos. So, again, I spend some money to get this stuff done, but I feel like it's money well spent if I'm able to deliver to you all a good product in the end. Alright, enough chat. Let's get back to the campaign. So, where we last left off, we did take Thebes, or Thebai here, and we have some pretty serious diplomatic penalties because of it, and I think I showed you those. But essentially, if we want to just sum it up here, it's easiest to go out here to this map, and I'll throw up the diplomacy thing here. It didn't change a whole lot in the end. I'm still allied with the Ionians. They're a little more upset with me than they were previously. Perhaps the same with some of my allies out here too. And of course, all of the Dorian pretty much hate me anyway as well, so it didn't change a whole lot. But if I take another capital, like Corinth here, that's probably going to really make people start to hate me. Now, it doesn't have an effect, I don't believe, on other Greeks like Macedon or Epirus, but it definitely does have an effect on the Dorian and the Ionian. I can't remember if there's any other different Greek backgrounds there. I'm really not up on my Greek history, so I apologize. It is not my forte whatsoever. But in any case, that's where we stand currently. So we have gained quite a bit of power. My income is quite good. We are in good shape. To the north, we have mostly allies. The Boeotian League is in bad shape. And it looks like the Aetolian League has finished them. I don't know that the Boeotian League even survives. Yeah, they do. They have this one little island out here. And Corinth is now limited to one province. No, two provinces. They have their last city, and then this Pronoia here that they took from me. So I think I need to make a fleet and sail around and knock out the Boeotian League and Corinth's last settlement here. And that may make Corinth willing to subjugate. I don't know. I'm going to try it rather than occupying Corinth. If I have to occupy it, I will, and I'll just prepare for the fallout. So we'll just kind of see what happens. Anyway, let's see. I've got my different armies down here. We captured Opos. This province is going to be pretty upset for a little while to come, and that's understandable. And I think we're about to be finished with the Plague of Athens. There's only 2 turns left, so it'll be nice to have that over with as well. Let's take a look. Evia here. If I'm saying it right, I'm trying. You all gave me those suggestions. Looks like things are fine here. Attica, Thraki, however it's said. Thrace would be the easier way for me to say it. Kalkidiki? Wow, it's a mouthful. Cool name though. Really wish I could speak other languages, I just don't have the time to pour into it. And that's to assume that I would be successful if I pour the time into it. I may not be, in the end. Yeah, it looks like all my provinces are fine for now. We're in good shape. Public order's safe in all of them except for Boeotia right now. So, and that's understandable because we just captured their capital, so perfectly understandable, actually. Oh, I forgot to stop my timer. I'm going to start it now. Because, yeah, I was waiting to start it since I had my little chat at the beginning. Be like, yeah, you're wasting our recording time with your tech spec talk and your nerdy nerd jerk. What? Okay, I don't even know where I'm going with that, but whatever. So, strength. Do y'all ever think that I'm a little too sarcastic with those things? I do it just to be funny, of course. I don't really think that you're out there, like, cursing me like that. Just having a good time with y'all, so hopefully you don't take any offense to it. I like to be sarcastic, in case you haven't noticed in my videos in the past. So we got Corinth and Sparta make their moves. In the end, I've heard that sometimes you can get through a campaign without confronting Persia, but then sometimes Persia gets all over you. So, and I've heard some people say that like the Ionians killed the Persians. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the late game as I gain Imperium and am forced to deal with other people. Obviously, it's going to turn people against you, much like it did in the Caesar and Gaul campaign. So let's see what we have here. We got some rebels that popped up, and they're going to go after my weakest point here. And there's honestly, I don't know. I got some archers. I think theoretically I should be able to kill these guys. I don't have a lot of archers, and I don't feel like messing with it, so I'll just come back and kill them later. Let the rebels have it for a turn. Not particularly concerned about it. There is a large Spartan army that is moving towards Attica, and we'll want to keep an eye on that. So, and we had some more military sabotage, which is fantastic. I do have some money, so let's sponsor an athlete just for fun here. See if anything good happens from it. And which army is being poisoned? I believe it's this one. Yep. So these guys are being poisoned, and whatever spy is doing this to me has been very skillful because they're doing it while my own spy is in their agent stance, and just getting away with it almost every time. Now, some of you told me, hey, go look at Darren Total War. He did a review of this, and he didn't like it. I watched his review, and I agree with some of his points. There's definitely things that could have been improved, and probably should have been improved. Overall, as a DLC, though, would I tell you to buy it? Well, again, I don't know what your definition of worth my money is, versus, for me, it's a Total War DLC, and I'm just going to try it because, you know, I'm a YouTube personality, and I show you guys these things. That's what I do. So it's kind of hard for me to make the same judgment call because, again, I make a little money from ads, and I use that money to make sure that I can show you all the different game features. So from a money standpoint, it's a little bit different for me. Like, it doesn't play to me the same way that it might to you. Is it fun to play? I think so. Are there things that are annoying about it? Absolutely. And I don't know that I've played a campaign yet on Rome 2 where there wasn't some things that were annoying about it. But that said, you go back to pretty much any game, even some that people consider to be excellent, like Napoleon. There was things in the campaign that irritated me. Shogun 2, also an excellent game with excellent campaign. And there was things in the campaign that irritated me. I think you all see where I'm going with that. It kind of just depends on what you like. The warfare, ground warfare in this campaign is very limited. It's all spear warfare with a very limited roster of hoplites, and there is not much differentiation between each of the factions. So if you're looking for a wide, diverse, large-scale campaign, you're not going to get it. If you're looking for a more historically focused battle area, again, it's not perfect historically. It looks like the Ionians are actually getting their rear handed to them by the Persians. So that's not going to be good. Means I could potentially have Persians after me soon. Of course, we could go attack Persia. It'd be interesting. Probably could, since we have plenty of money. Wintertime, though, is on right now, and it means that our money, of course, is going to be severely limited. Let's see. Get less corruption if we go down this road, which would be nice as our Imperium grows, so... +4 tax rate. Let's go ahead and do a little research there. So yeah, it's the military research isn't going to do a whole lot for me. It would allow me to get picked hoplites, which I don't really feel like I need picked hoplites in order to be successful here. So it's not something that I'm necessarily particularly concerned about at the moment. So let's see. Yeah, Sparta has got quite a bit of power in Lacadocia, or whatever this place is. So again, my geography here is bad. I apologize for that. So the Spartans honestly have a pretty crappy army here. If they were joined by the Corinthians, they could be a real threat if I sally out against them, and they have more armies. I do want to block their passage into Attica, so I can't quite get there, unfortunately, though. So the Spartans could get through me on this side towards Thebes, but Thebes is well defended, so I'm not concerned there. My spy is not doing me a whole lot of good here. This spy is actually my better one, so let's see if we can poison these Spartans, just kind of dissuade them from pushing forward. And then my agent here should be kind of sowing some corruption and other stuff into the Corinthian province here to hopefully give them a little bit of trouble. That's kind of my aim there, kind of slowly pull them down. Fleet-wise, I need a good fleet, and we need to bring that fleet over here and retake these islands. And that's going to take a little bit of investment here, but should be worth it. As far as fleets go, I can't remember which ones I have left. I've gotten some killed. I have this one here, and this is a good spot to train one from. And again, the naval units are fairly limited in scope too. There's really not much outside of the units that you're seeing here for Athens. So again, nothing great that you're going to see from a diversity standpoint. So if that's something that's very concerning to you, it's just something you might want to consider. Again, when you look at purchasing this DLC, how does the campaign play out? I don't know. I haven't finished it yet, but we certainly will. And it looks like Ellis has left their army here within striking distance. So I am going to strike and kill them. I want to wipe that army out so that it can't potentially go retrain. I did lose a cavalry unit. We can retrain a cav unit. That's going to be the least of my concerns at the moment. So we'll put another light cav unit there. And we're going to hope we can stabilize this province a little. It is definitely upset, and it's going to take some time, I think, to stabilize it. Looks like the 10,000 have ranked up here. Plus 5 shots per minute. Melee attack is honestly going to be some of the most handy. Medium siege engines might be good too, because siege engines would be helpful. Of course, then it's all spear combat too, so none of it's going to be super helpful. Melee attacks. I'll just focus on the melee attack skill to try and make up for some of the detriment that I'm going to have versus Sparta when it comes to army capability. Let's see if there's any pressing need for buildings. If not, I'm just going to save a little of my income, because I could see it becoming handy. And there are some upgrades we could do here. This preservation room might as well gets us a little more wealth. Let's see. Not worried about that. We're there. I don't want to dump a whole bunch of money into these provinces that could potentially be overrun by Persia here soon anyway. So not particularly concerned about dumping my money there at the moment, even though I could do some upgrades. Let's go ahead and end the turn, just kind of see how things wind up. I'd love to go after that Spartan army. Since it's mostly Spartan use, it would give my guys an opportunity to actually kind of be out on top for once in a military conflict with Sparta. And it looks like Corinth sails its troops away from Corinthos. Spartan agent going after my noble. I do also like in this campaign that it's 1 turn per month. Really neat. So I really don't like playing a campaign at 1 turn per year. I dislike it thoroughly because your generals die too fast and your agents do. So that's why I use the 4 turn per year on the Grand Campaign, which makes sense because it's a larger map, maybe fewer turns per year. Whereas when you're on these zoomed in maps like this, Caesar and Gaul, I really enjoy the multiple turns per year, like more than 4. And my army is still just being poisoned to death over here. We got plus 4 public order for sponsoring the guy in the Neiman Games, but it's only for 4 turns. I don't know how helpful that is, but any little bit's gonna help, honestly, right now. We didn't have a rebellion either, which is nice. Man, this is ridiculous, just getting poisoned away at by an enemy agent that I just cannot see. And my spy is not capable of seeing them at the moment, unfortunately. So there is an enemy noble here. Let's see what our chances. If we were to manipulate, it's pretty good chances actually, manipulation. Pretty very good chance. Let's try it. Ha! Sweet! That's what I'm talking about. And apparently these guys took some attrition. Or, no, maybe these were the ones, yeah, they got poisoned. This was the army that got poisoned, I saw it wrong, so... Okay, hold on just a second, folks. I need to mute out for a second. Back. Sorry, I missed there. Just needed to tell me something real quick. I think current little error. Gotta go run to the store while I'm finishing this stuff up. So this army will be able to retrain, which is good. That poisoning is getting to the point of utter ridiculousness here. But I do have more agents around, so hopefully we can catch it. Again, the Corinthian armies fled this way via sea, and I am building up a better navy there, so that ought to help me go and take those provinces back. We managed to get this army down here. I don't know that we need to build it up at the moment. I have four pretty good size armies, so we probably want to be somewhat limited in how much funds we expend on these troops, and I am expending quite a bit by keeping these mercenaries around as well, but they are very helpful units considering that when it comes to just pure hoplite power that I'm going to be undone by the Spartans. Looks like the Corinthians may have been going after Macedon. So as far as other things that I've noticed that are different in this campaign, and you probably have too, the naval battles are a lot more important. Some of you really hate naval battles still, and you probably really hate them here because you feel like the variety is pretty low since there's basically like 4 different types of naval units for each faction. But I actually kind of like it, and the other thing that I kind of like in this campaign is the fact that it takes longer to retrain whole armies. So if you lose an army, it's much more impactful because the training time is longer, and I find that to be pretty interesting too. Drawbacks, I think so far, as you can see, the agent play is kind of weird. I haven't had the same thing happen to me like what happened to Darren. I'm just going to let my guy get blackmailed. I really don't care. I'm not paying them 7,700 talents to avoid it. It's utterly ridiculous. In any case, yeah, so I haven't had the same kind of agent apocalypse that Darren did. But I can see where he's coming from. It's happened to me in Caesar and Gaul before, like really bad in Caesar and Gaul. So it was something there that I had a very hard time dealing with. Got some enemy Corinthian transports. If they land, though, Macedon appears to have the wherewithal to handle them. And this army has now retrained its cavalry, so we can move it down here. We may want to start pushing into Spartan territory, and although we won't want to go necessarily after the capitals yet, we can go capture some of the smaller towns and try and use that as an opportunity to start to force our opponents into submission. And I really feel like that'll be my best bet. I still don't see any enemy agents over here, so whatever enemy agent was screwing with me has done so very cleanly, and they are going to get away with it.
What do you wish of me?
Yeah, and there's very little I can do about it. So, oh, one of the other things Darren pointed out, which was a very fair point I thought as well, is that these guys still have cultural influence, even though you can't affect the culture of a province. What do you mean by that, Darren? Well, if you take a look here, normally you'd go over here under culture and it says like Ionian 100%, and you could change that in another campaign with your nobles and with other influencing factors. In this campaign it does not change, it just stays the same. Yet that trait was still left on all of these nobles and other characters, so you can still like level it up, and it's still there, like you're paying to use it or whatever whenever you level up your agent, and it doesn't do anything. And I agree with him there when that just kind of comes off looking a little lazy. It's definitely something that should have been considered, and I think something drawn up in order to make the difference. So I think the agent play in Rome 2 is definitely not one of my favorite points about the game. You all probably picked that up. I use my agents to screw over the AI a lot, but it's because they're going to do the same to me. It's not really my favorite way. I actually liked the agent play in Shogun 2 a lot better. Agents played a role, but they weren't strong enough to stop whole armies repeatedly and, constantly. Whereas in Rome 2, they definitely are. Agents can absolutely ruin whole armies, and whole factions for that matter, and you can get a real agent apocalypse going on with the number of agents that are available. So that was one thing that I definitely agree with, and I feel like in Rome 2 that that's definitely the case. The agent play should have been tweaked at some point. It hasn't been, and I honestly think that'll be something that kind of went by that was it was an easy miss and should have been corrected. Some of you wonder too why I'm still building farms. I get just as much income out of the farms for the most part as I do these other wealth of industry, and I get food out of it, so that's kind of like why not. I understand that these ones, as they go higher, will give me more money, but they also give me public order penalties, so you're like, Heir's always building his farms, Farmer Heir, Farmer Patch. Yeah, I get it. I get where you're coming from, but again, I still get benefits out of this, and if I go this way, I really can't afford a whole lot of public order penalties in this campaign, not as Athens at least. So that's why I'm doing that, so hopefully it makes sense. I will try and keep it within reason, of course. Okay, so now I'm going to move up this army, just completely block this little peninsular crossing here, or whatever you call this, strait or something. It's not a peninsula because it doesn't have water on 3 sides, I guess. Not this particular small piece here. This piece is what I'm talking about. This would be a peninsula, this whole piece down here. But you know what I'm talking about, this pass here. I'm going to just block it with the influence of this army and make sure the Spartans can't get through there. Now, Royal Spartans are going to be a severe threat to me in this one, and that's surely what these guys are here. They are suffering some morale penalties, though, for whatever reason. It could just be winter time. It is, because apparently my guys are suffering from it as well, campaigning in the winter. I don't think it was Greek tradition to actually fight in the winter, if I understood it right from what someone has told me. So if that's true, then that's kind of cool. If it's wrong, then I apologize, because again, Greek history is not my thing. I don't really see a point in upgrading that. I mean, we don't get a huge bunch of wealth. I don't need the public order at the moment, so I'll just hold off on it. Looks like public order is pretty quickly stabilizing in the provinces where I need it to, so I'd say things are going well still at the moment. I do have an unassigned skill that we need to look into.
It's your command.
Throw that into militancy. The more training I can give my men, the better. In these campaigns that have multiple turns, you can impart a lot of training to your troops, and it can make a huge difference in battles where you really need your troops to stand out above others, and especially in this campaign where basically everybody has the same troops. The Spartans, of course, have a little bit more roster variety, but Corinth, Athens, Boeotian League, very similar. So when you have troops that are that similar, you definitely want to be able to capitalize on the fact that you can chevron up your men and field a better army than what your opponents can. And apparently we're going to have to deal with Persia, because Persia is completely whipped up on the Ionian League. Now the Persians have some units too that I think some of us would have loved to have seen in multiplayer. That was another thing I guess that got called out in the review by Darren Total War, was that he felt like these should have been a multiplayer because other campaign packs did add that, and I totally get that, but at the same time I don't, because these factions would get absolutely crapped on in multiplayer, so they wouldn't add much in terms of giving people a lot of options. I guess maybe if there was a... I think what would have been cooler on Rome 2, to be honest, would be if the factions in the main campaign, like if you could have done an early campaign or a late campaign, and then because of that you would have different factions that you could pick in early and late, then something like that could have played in, and if multiplayer followed suit it would have been very interesting, but again that was not done, and so I think that it does kind of limit things in that sense. So let's bring these guys down. Man, sometimes it's like you can't hardly move. Ah, here's that freaking Corinthian spy. Oh yeah. You better believe Heir's gonna come get a piece of you. Really, a level 3 spy, probably the one causing all this crap and going so unseen. Seems a little bit redonkulous to me. We've got pretty good chances here of coercing that spy into our service. And they are hindered at least, which should keep her visible to me and allow me to keep working on her here. So I would say that that was going to be worthwhile. Okay. Yes. Alright. And Thebes is definitely under our control now, so there's really no reason... Oh, here's that Corinthian army. Fantastic. We can actually try and get over here and stand off with the Corinthians. So I've got this army heading that way. And we have stabilized Thebai, so that's good. And the Spartans have some forces here too that I'd love to attack when I get a chance. Got some more archer marines, and we've got some more armored marines. Really probably want to go ahead and churn out a pretty strong fleet here. gonna have at least 4 archer marines when we get on land, and then let's see, that'll give me 2 armored marines and 5 Athenai marines, so we should be good. That's a lot of money to spend on upkeep, so I need to be careful about what I'm spending. And I'm gonna probably need to do some research to open up better buildings for economics and other stuff like that. Let's take a look at Kos here. How are we doing here? We have a little food to spend, and that gets us quite a bit more wealth, so let's go ahead and run that upgrade. And then we could upgrade here. It'll give us a little bit, so it's kind of like, why not? Sestos, we'll go ahead and run that. And same thing here, since we have the extra food. Let's just go ahead and run it. I got some unassigned skills. One of which is on my spy here, who's leveling up nicely as she stays there in her agent stance, trying to help me spot enemy agents. Let's grab some authority real quick for this noble. And looks like my champion has leveled up some. So let's go ahead and give him strength. And we'll end another turn here. I have a lot of military forces, so my income is temporarily going to be down from where it was. Navy's not cheap to upkeep. Part of me is tempted to just go after Corinth just to see what happens.
And a place in the histories. All of these will be ours when we are united as friends.
This seems like a good move, so I'm going to do this. And those guys are not affected by the capturing of other capitals, I don't believe. Now, they may be affected by some other form of expansionism as far as a diplomatic penalty goes. And I am just about out of time for this episode. Hopefully I can get you a land battle here. I'm going to try and engage that Corinthian army, but they seem to be fleeing from me to some degree.
I speak as the sword cuts.
Thrace continues to ask for military access. I do not see the point in that, so I continually reject them. Okay, so my agents were exposed. Should be okay. Oh, whoops, I don't want to assassinate, I want to manipulate. Slightly better chances here in the coercion. Hindered the enemy agent again, but she is being pretty resistant. I cannot reach this Corinthian army, so it looks like any engagement that's going to take place will not take place on this episode, so I do apologize, but it is kind of harder to run onto land battles in this campaign. I don't know if we can reach these Spartans. They would get reinforced by the garrison from Corinth, and all up in a fort like that, that would not be a fight that I wish to take. So that's also not a fight I'm going to take. So I'm going to wait until I have a couple of armies to reinforce each other. So that is going to be all the time I have for this episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. I will, of course, be back with more soon. And I hope you are enjoying the Athens campaign in general. I feel like I am, even though it's very different from what I'm used to. And I will be bringing you more of it soon, of course. HeirofCarthage, signing off for now.